Hey guys, welcome back to New England Fire Cooking. I'm Aaron Higgins, and today what we're going to do is we're going to do my take on Lombardy quiche, which is kind of an old or Lombardy custard, which is kind of an old recipe, and by old I mean like 1400s old. And what they did back then was they mixed a lot of sweet and savory together, and because this this particular recipe calls for both fruit, date as in chopped dates, and bone marrow, we're only going to use the dates. It originally called for chopped prunes and a whole bunch of sugar too, but if I'm cooking with bone marrow, I don't want to be tasting beef and sugar. But to give it, to give it its due, I suppose, we're going to use just the chopped dates. So what you want to get is this is just a 9-inch pie crust, and all I'm doing here is I'm just sprinkling these dates at the very bottom. You don't have to go too crazy. I chopped them really, really fine. Kind of look like little jalapeno peppers. You want slices like that. And you're just gonna sprinkle these at the very bottom of this this pie crust. Just like that. And then you're gonna, so after you have your dates in, you just want to layer in your bone marrow. And your butcher shop can provide this for you. I just bought a beef soup bone, and I pressed the marrow out of the center of it. Let me break this apart. And this stuff is like nature's butter. This is gonna melt right away into these dates and into the pie crust. It's gonna give it a great beef flavor. So I've got the Traeger fired up on high. It's right around 400 degrees right now. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set this on the Traeger for about 10 to 15 minutes and let that marrow melt right into the pie crust. And it'll also harden the pie crust up a little bit, and it'll give us a good base to add our eggs and our cream and the other stuff that's going to go in here for this quiche. And it also lets some smoke get on this this fruit and beef marrow, because we definitely want some smoked flavor. This is a Middle Ages recipe, and we want this to taste like it was cooked over fire. So let's go down and throw this on the Traeger, and then come back up and I'll show you how to mix up the filling. Okay, so our Traeger is running at right around 450, and what we're going to do is we're going to throw this in and we're going to let it roll for 10 minutes, and after that we should be good. See you back in the kitchen. Okay guys, so what I have here is I have about a decent sized bowl because I don't want to spatter everywhere, and I've got 3 eggs in here, and I have 1.5 cups of heavy cream. You don't want half and half, you don't want whole milk, you want heavy cream. So we're going to add this right in with the eggs, okay? And then after that, we're gonna add in about 1.5 tablespoons of the special shit seasoning. You're gonna see me use a lot of this. I'm really, really liking this rub. This is a great all-purpose rub. So we're gonna throw that in, and then after that, I've got some fresh parsley that I just chopped up a little bit on the cutting board. So we're gonna throw this into the mix too. And then what we want to do is we want to beat this. You want to really get this to stiffen up. So what we're going to do is we're going to just okay, so as you can see, this stuff is thickened up quite a bit, which is what we want. That's about what you want. And now what I have here is I have a couple cups of shredded smoked Gouda cheese, and I would much rather have Gouda cheese mixed with beef marrow and cream and eggs than sugar. But we do have our pie crust right here. As you can see, the marrow just melted right into the crust. The crust has got some good smoke on it. It smells good. We're gonna add this cheese right into our cream and egg and parsley mixture. And we're just going to mix this all together. And this is going to be our quiche, the foundation of our quiche. We want to do from there, get it right into this pie crust as much as you can. And now it's going to go back on the Traeger for about 25 minutes, and 375. You want to lower that temperature from 400 when you first put the pie crust in to 375. 25 minutes, ballparking it. Should be able to slide a toothpick into the center and pull it out clean, and then you know you're done. Stick around. Okay, so the Traeger says 370. I'm gonna get this bad boy right back on in the center. Set a timer for 25 minutes and we'll give it a check. Okay, here we are. I'm gonna slide a butter knife right in the center. It doesn't quite pull out clean. Got a little ways to go. Okay guys, here we go. Poke test. That's pretty good to me. Oh yeah. Okay guys, my favorite part of the day. And because I didn't really have a pie server handy, I dug around and found our wedding cake cutters and servers. So I'll be using this fancy pants cutlery for this exquisite Lombardy quiche. So before I dive right into this, let's do a quick run through of what we did. We took a 9-inch pie crust, we chopped up some dates, about the size of what you see in a pickled jalapeno pepper. We chopped up the dates, needed about maybe half a cup to a cup of dates. Then after that, we used about a 1/4 cup of bone marrow, and we just chopped that up and sprinkled the dates and the bone marrow in the bottom of the pie crust. Got our Traeger fired up to about 400 degrees, 450 degrees. And you could do this all in an oven too. Got the Traeger fired up, put the pie crust on the Traeger and let that marrow melt right into the to the dates. And we also got some smoke on the marrow and smoke on the pie crust, and the pie crust hardened up a little bit. So our egg and cream mixture, we added chopped parsley to, and we beat that until it began to thicken up. Didn't quite stand up on its own, but it began to thicken. And once it's nice and thick, we folded in about 1.5 to 2 cups of shredded smoked Gouda cheese. We filled our pie crust with it, and we got it right back out on the Traeger at 375. Now, typically, if you were gonna run this in your oven, 375 for about a half hour would be just fine, but it's November up here in New England and it's getting cold outside. So that means if you're cooking out on your smoker or your grill, sometimes it can take a little bit longer to cook, or you gotta run it at higher temperatures. So you gotta bob and weave with that a little bit. You know, just be patient. If you're really in a time crunch, you might wanna cook it in the oven inside, but here we obviously like cooking over fire. So we were in no rush. And now we've got this beautiful, beautiful quiche, and it smells awesome. And I'm about to cut into this and give this a taste. Come on out of there. As you can see, came out nice, well cooked all the way through, nice golden brown on top of it. Now here we go, moment of truth. That's really rich. That's incredibly rich. Real beefy. You got a nice beef flavor from the marrow. The Gouda cheese is awesome. And honestly, having that small layer of dates at the bottom of this gives you just a hint of sweet. Just a hint. There's not a lot of sugar in this at all, which I prefer if I'm eating bone marrow. This is really, really good. It's cheesy. The crust is cooked perfect. It's flaky. Can't say they ate badly in the Middle Ages. But this is a semblance of what they ate back then. I can see why King Henry VIII ballooned to like whatever it was, 500 some odd pounds, and became the size of the friggin' moon. Eat this all day, every day. Good grief. I'm going back in. This should be good for anything. This would be good for breakfast. This would be good for lunch, good for dinner. I could eat this all day. I say that in every video. I just crushed this whole slice of quiche. You know, if I were gonna do anything different about this, the only thing I might do is add a 4th egg. That's about it. Yeah. Make some good use of some beef marrow. Play around with it a little bit. It melts like butter. That adds really, really good flavor. And the smoke, once the smoke gets into this, that's really, really good. Excellent. Hey, if you like what you see here on New England Fire Cooking and you want to see more of this stuff, give us subscribe. Give us your feedback in the comment section. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you'd like to see. If you have any suggestions or anything like that. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time.